dimension of mind.
Cinema, a magical world, meant to give the viewer a memorable experience to take with them, without ever actually having to leave the safety and comfort of their own home. Tales of wonder and adventure brought to life on the big screen can mean so much to so many people. It's a way to connect us through a shared experience and to bring us happiness and excitement. Though like anything else, this wondrous world has a dark side. Many characters in the films we love find themselves in terrible danger, but the actor playing the role has the reassurance of knowing that everything is going to be okay, as it's all staged, right? What happens when the threat of danger is real? When the true person on set isn't as safe there as they thought they were? What happens when everything goes wrong?
At the same time every day.
Every day except Thursday. That's my day off.
Who moved them up?
An innocent victim of blind justice, falsely convicted for the murder.
Who is it?
What you're about to watch in this room is a strange mortal combat between a man and himself.
Presented by the late Rod Serling, tales of horror and mystery perplex the minds of all. People young and old gathered around their family television sets every week for the new, thought-provoking episodes of The Twilight Zone. Between 1959 and 1964, the show filmed 5 seasons comprised of over 150 episodes, airing exclusively on the CBS network. But where did it all begin? Fed up with heavy censorship in past television roles, Serling longed to break into more controversial and serious projects. This idea first took shape in an episode of the anthology series, The United States Steel Hour. The plot of the episode closely mirrored the murder case of a 14-year-old African-American boy by the name of Emmett Till in 1955 in Mississippi. He was kidnapped and killed by 2 white men after he was seen interacting with a young girl in a supermarket. Despite outstanding evidence, including confessions from the murderers, Both were exonerated and freed on all counts in the end, serving no time at all for brutally ending the life of the young boy. Serling, who lived in the area at the time, was outraged by the lack of sorrow or remorse for the death of the boy in this small town, driving him to write the episode. Serling was quoted as saying, "At no point in the conception of my story was there a black-white issue. The victim was an old Jew who ran a pawn shop. The killer was a neurotic malcontent who lashed out at something or someone who might be materially and physically the scapegoat for his own unhappy, purposeless, and miserable existence. Philosophically, I felt that I was on solid ground. I felt that I was dealing with a sociological phenomenon, the need of human beings to have a scapegoat to rationalize their own shortcomings. Overall, the episode was poorly received, many going as far as to protest the production, and it was not released." After heavy backlash from his attempt to tackle real issues, Serling realized that he could gain more freedom to express potentially controversial ideas in a more supernatural and science fiction-based setting. One with robots and aliens instead of only human characters, giving a less obvious way for Serling to realize his dream to cover these more controversial topics. In doing so, he also created almost a new universe, full of ideas, teeming with imagination, unlike anything anyone had seen before. Almost 20 years after the last episodes aired, producers John Landis and Steven Spielberg came together with directors Joe Dante and George Miller to create a feature-length film in an attempt to revamp 4 iconic episodes from the original series. Early on in the filming process, however, a horrific event took place, almost causing a permanent halt to the project. The first segment of the film, titled Time Out, featured a spin on the classic episode A Quality of Mercy. The main character, Bill Connor, was played by American actor Vic Morrow. Known for his role in the 1960s drama series Combat, as well as films like King Creole in 1958 and The Bad News Bears in 1976.
You're about to meet an angry man, Mr. William Connor, who carries on his shoulder a chip the size of the national debt. This is a sour man, a lonely man, who's tired of waiting for the breaks that come to others but never to him. Mr. William Connor, whose own blind hatred is about to catapult him into the darkest corner of the Twilight Zone.
In his role as Bill Connor, Morrow brought to life a bitter man, blaming others, specifically those of another race, for his many issues. After being transported to another dimension outside the bar, he switches perspectives, finding himself in the very shoes of those he hated blindly. A story with a moral, learning to look at things from the perspective of another human with a different origin than yourself. though tragedy struck before this tale could be even finished recording, leaving a dark stain forever on the production. Working late into the night, director John Landis was attempting to finish up filming for this first segment, his contribution to the film. After Morrow's character, Bill Connor, finds himself on the run from American soldiers during the Vietnam War, he attempts to save 2 young Vietnamese orphans from the horrors of the war. Though during the filming of this scene, the unthinkable happened. On set, we see Vic Morrow, along with 2 young children, Micah Din Lei, 7 years old, and Renee Xin Yi Chen, 6 years old. Both children working illegally, paid under the table by the film crew. California law forbids children from working at night or within close proximity to explosions. Both violations occurred here during the filming of this scene, putting their lives unknowingly in danger. During his full character arc in the film, we see Morrow's character finding what good there is in his heart, saving these Vietnamese children despite his previously stated beliefs earlier in the film. As he trudges through the water, one child clenched in each arm, the scene was set to have an American helicopter approaching, shooting at them from behind. A risky but not uncommon stunt to be pulled off on a movie set. Piloting the helicopter was a Vietnam War veteran by the name of Dorsey Wingo, someone who had the experience necessary to safely pilot this vehicle. While filming, Wingo hovered the aircraft about 25 feet from the ground, above Morrow and the 2 children. Large pyrotechnic mortar effects were being shot all around in the helicopter's airspace, creating a very unsettling environment. Wingo turned the helicopter 180 degrees for the next camera shot, but was immediately hit by a mortar effect, causing the rear rotor on the tail of the craft to detach, making the helicopter spin out of control. Just as the helicopter began to plummet, Morrow dropped one of the children. As he reached down to pull the child from the water, the helicopter crashed down directly on top of the 3 actors. In an instant, they were gone. Not just in the film, but for real. Morrow and Lei were decapitated by the rapidly spinning blade, while Chen was crushed to death under the immense weight of the helicopter. The 3 died almost instantly. Questionable are the actions and decisions made by John Landis, both during filming and in his handling of the aftermath of the accident. Co-director and producer Steven Spielberg, who was not on set for this stunt, went on record condemning his actions. This is what he had to say. "No movie is worth dying for. I think people are standing up much more now than ever before to producers and directors who ask too much. If something isn't safe, it's the right and responsibility of every actor or crew member to yell cut." According to Randall Robinson, an assistant cameraman on board the helicopter, Landis continued to yell over the radio to Wingo, commanding him to fly even lower. Despite multiple crew members allegedly advising him to leave the area due to the unnecessarily heavy mortar fire. Another camera operator on board, Stephen Lydecker, also went on record as saying that Landis had reportedly shrugged off warnings about the stunt, saying, "We may lose the helicopter." Despite the obvious risks, he was willing to do anything it took to get his shot. Despite this horrendous tragedy and loss of life, Landis decided to release the film with the original ending he had planned. He claimed that it would be, quote, outrageous to Morrow to cut his segment from the movie completely, though the children were completely cut from the film. This story just goes to show that even in the most professional setting, whether it be due to malfunction, poor planning, or just overall carelessness, the risk of imminent danger is always lurking nearby. In this case, you would think that this could have been easily avoided had the rules and regulations just been followed, and had the safety been the crew's number one concern. Whatever the case, this film, originally meant to be disturbing in a very different way, remains forever haunted by the very real, tragic events of its production.